is because, so imagine that you're trying to analyze a literary work. You might say, well, where's the meaning in the literary work? And the answer is, it's in the words, word by word. It's in the phrases. It's in the sentences. It's in the relationship of the sentences to each other. It's in the relationship of the sentences within paragraphs. It's in the relationship of the paragraphs within the contexts of the chapters. And it's in the relationship between the chapters and the whole book, and then the book in the whole culture. So you can't, it's not easy to localize the meaning. It exists at all those levels simultaneously, and they all inform one another. And what that means, and it's even worse in a book like the Bible. I want to show you a picture. This is an amazing picture. So let me tell you what this is. So the Bible is the world's first hyperlinked document. That's a good way of thinking about it. So what you have here, so what you see at the bottom, there's a line along the bottom, and then there's small lines coming down from it, okay? Each of those, the line has dots on it. Each dot is a verse, okay? And then there's a line associated with the verse that's of varying length, and the length corresponds to how many times that verse is cross-referenced somewhere else in the document. And then these rainbow-colored lines are the cross-references. So now that's really worth thinking about. So then you think, well, that book is deep. Well, why is it deep? Well, it's because every single thing in it refers to every other thing. It's connected like your brain is connected. Like it's not a linear document. And the thing is, a book is a very strange thing, right? Because when you, or even a story, because when you lay out the story, in some sense you're like God. You're outside of the space and time of the story. And so you can adjust the end to make the beginning different. You know how if you watch a movie and then it's got a surprise ending, it changes the beginning. You thought the beginning was one thing, but it isn't. It's something else. Well, when you lay out a story, you can fiddle with the story anywhere in the story. And so, and you can also make something that happens before dependent on something that happens after, which is very strange. And that's what's happened with the Bible, because people have worked on it, trying to synthesize it and make it coherent and make it make sense. And so they're continually connecting everything that's inside of it to everything else. And so you end up with a document map that looks like that. So now, so you think about that. Everything is connected to everything in that document. Not chaotically, but meaningfully, just like your brain is connected in a meaningful way. It's not everything isn't connected to everything. It's connected in a meaningful way. And then you think, well, what do the stories mean? And then the answer is, well, that's a hard question, because all of them are connected with each other. And then there's all these different levels of analysis. And so you can pull out meanings at one level of analysis that aren't self-evident at another level of analysis. Just like if you're listening to a complex piece of symphonic music, you can follow a bass line, or you can follow the strings, or you can follow the horns, and they're all harmoniously interrelated, but they're also separable. Okay, so there's an image that lurks in the Old Testament, and the image is the same image, it's roughly the same image as the image of Marduk confronting Tiamat. So for example, at the beginning, God makes, here's how the beginning goes. In the beginning, God created the heaven and the earth. And the earth was without form and void, and darkness was upon the face of the deep. And the Spirit of God moved upon the face of the waters. And God said, let there be light, and there was light. Okay, so we got to look at the first few lines here. So this is God justifying himself to Job. He says, can you pull in Leviathan with a fishhook, or tie down its tongue with a rope? Can you put a cord through its nose, or pierce its jaw with a hook? Will it keep you begging for mercy? Will it speak to you with gentle words? Will it make an agreement with you for you to take it as your slave for life? Can you make a pet of it like a bird, or put it on a leash for the young women in your house? Will traders barter for it? Will they divide it up among the merchants? Can you fill its hide with harpoons, or its head with fishing spears? If you lay a hand on it, you will remember the struggle and never do it again. Any hope of subduing it is false. The mere sight of it is overpowering. No one is fierce enough to rouse it. Who is then able to stand against me? Who has a claim against me that I must pay? Everything under heaven belongs to me. More computer trouble. Oh, there we go. I will not fail to speak of Leviathan's limbs, its strength and its graceful form. Who can strip off its outer coat? Who can penetrate its double coat of armor? Who dares open the doors of its mouth, ringed about with fearsome teeth? Its back has rows of shields tightly sealed together. Each is so close to the next that no air can pass between. They are joined fast to one another. They cling together and cannot be parted. Its snorting throws out flashes of light. Its eyes are like the rays of dawn. Flames stream from its mouth. Sparks of fire shoot out. Smoke pours from its nostrils as from a boiling pot over burning reeds. Its breath sets coals ablaze and flames dart from its mouth. Strength resides in its neck. Dismay goes before it. The folds of its flesh are tightly joined. They are firm and immovable. Its chest is as hard as rock, hard as a lower millstone. When it rises up, the mighty are terrified. They retreat before its thrashing. The sword that reaches it has no effect, nor does the spear or the dart or the javelin. Iron it treats like straw, and bronze like a rotten wood. Arrows do not make it flee. Sling stones are like chaff to it. A club seems to it but a piece of straw. It laughs at the rattling of the lance. Its undersides are jagged potsherds, leaving a trail in the mud like a threshing sledge. It makes the depths churn like a boiling cauldron and stees up the sea like a pot of ointment. It leaves a glistening wake behind it. One would think the deep had white hair. Nothing on earth is its equal, a creature without fear. It looks down on all that are haughty and is king over all that are proud. Well, so what's God doing? He's describing what he defeated in order to create the world. That's Marduk and Tiamat. Okay, so that's one reference like that. All right, so now another reference like that. This is from Psalms 74.